We all know the story of the wholesome Kansas farm boy in the red cape, but DC is finally giving us the side of the family with actual trauma, trading in the sunny metropolis vibes for a gritty intergalactic revenge mission. Supergirl proves that having godlike superpowers doesn't excuse you from doing the emotional labor of processing your past.
And any movie worth the conversation is going to leave me with questions like, if Kryptonians get all of their superpowers from the yellow sun, does melanin technically give black folks a competitive advantage in the DC universe?
Crazy.
I didn't know they had black folks on Krypton, so who was the candy lady? And why y'all gotta take your dogs everywhere with you? It's movie day. I'm Ray Love Jr.
And I'm Tre'vell Anderson.
And we are Seated, the blackest show about movies.
Yes. Welcome back to Seated. For those of you who've been here, you know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe. And if this is your first time, well, welcome to the congregation. Take a seat. We don't bite.
And while you're there, go ahead and tap into the Seated Movie Club at seatedshow.com/join, where we're bringing you more of this popcorn-worthy energy with exclusive content. Now, Tre'vell, as I usually ask, is today's conversation going to be spoiler-free or no?
I think we're getting into the spoilers. So we will do a spoiler-free segment, and then we will jump to spoiler-filled because I have some thoughts.
Come on, Preguntas.
Okay, you see it.
Yes. So speaking of thoughts, we love hearing from our community out there. So make sure you're following us at Seated Show everywhere, Instagram, TikTok, and also subscribe to us if you are not already. But Tre'vell, I know we usually start out with a Fresh Out segment where we share capsule reviews and reactions to other movies. But this week, I figured since it was a special week and, you know, we're an indie show and can do what we want.
Well, yeah.
I figured this week's Fresh Out will be centered around a BT Awards recap. So, did you check it out or catch any of the clips of this year's 2026 BT Awards hosted by, who was it, Druski?
Yes, I did see some clips. I tried to watch it live. I really made every effort, but I'm not giving y'all no more money. You know what I mean?
You know what?
And so
I'm glad you brought that up because that was a point of conversation across the timeline. Like, people were like, I can't even access this because apparently it wasn't streaming on like the Paramount Plus app for free or something like that.
You had to have, you had to have the like premium version of Paramount. You couldn't have had the regular version that I got. And then you also, or if you had like Hulu, I think if you had Hulu but with live TV, then you could see it live. Yeah, it just was a lot of hoops to try to jump through. And I was going to jump through the hoops, but I'm gonna tell you what happened. I got onto the YouTube because, you know, sometimes there's little, you know, people be live streaming things on the YouTube now. Okay, right?
Bootlegging, you know, it's part of the culture.
Yes, it is. But you know, they do the bootlegging. They do is they put up a live stream of the thing, and then they put this big old graphic in the middle, so you can't really see what's going on behind. But I really just wanted to know what was going on. I just wanted to know what the early vibes were. And so I did see through a black box the opening with Druski. And as soon as he said he was going to impregnate, I said, gotta go. So
yeah, it was a bunch of those types of antics with his skits. But I did tune in. Thankfully, you know, still got basic or regular cable, so I was able to access it via the Xfinity.
And so what did you think? What was your like overall takeaway from the show?
For this to be a show that honestly kind of crept up on me, like there wasn't much hype around this. Like the performances and all of that were not, I don't think, generating excitement for me as somebody who's, you know, past the probably mainstream age. Like I'm pretty locked into the things that I like, although I stay tapped in culturally. I wasn't getting a lot of the promo service to me. So when it came, it kind of like was like, oh wow, the BT Awards are this weekend, and it kind of like shocked me, came by surprise to say the least. But I was pleasantly, surprised by how tapped in I was able to stay in with the show. Although there were some acts that I just was not familiar with. And also, speaking of acts, I don't understand why we started the show with a performance from T.I. I thought I was on the wrong channel at first. I was like, wait, is this a rerun of a previous year's BT Awards? Yeah, it opens up with a performance of T.I. doing one of his old songs, like I got my top lip. I forgot what it was.
I got my beat down low and my top down. Yeah.
And he comes out the ceiling with like a crown, a huge crown that he's standing inside of. I was just confused. I was like, okay, T.I. is cool and all, but why 2026? Like he ain't got no motion this year. I didn't know what was going on.
I'm about to say, yeah, it
wasn't announced.
I do want to know that was a hit. Okay, that took me back.
Sure.
But you're right, to open the BET Awards, that's wild. But also, didn't we also like put him on the timeout seat as well?
I just feel like he's of that generation. Like between him and this beef with 50 Cent and all of that, like I can't keep up no more, and I just let them be where they are over in Atlanta. Atlanta always gonna be something. Future, all them. They over there in the box for me.
Precisely.
But there were, of course, we have to acknowledge the movie awards from the night, which were non-televised. Which boo.
Child, they don't care.
Right. But Best Actress went to Tiana Taylor for her portrayal of Perfidia Beverly Hills in One Battle After Another. Best Actor, of course, went to Michael B. Jordan. How could it not, for his dual performance in Sinners. And Best Movie went to Sinners. Now, this is where I want to pull the call over for a second here.
Let's pull it on
and discuss the nominees in this category for Best Movie this year.
Child.
Now, come on now. We got Highest to Lowest, him, number one on the call sheet, which was the documentary on streaming, or documentary series. Was it not a series?
Two parts, yeah.
Yes. One Battle After Another, Relationship Goals, Ruth and Boaz,
Please.
And then Your Beloved Wicked for Good. Now...
Wow. First of all, hold on. Okay.
Let's not act like.
But... no. For the new listeners and the new viewers, I need them to know that I'm a Wicked 1 stan, not a Wicked 2 stan. It is important. Nonetheless,
fine.
This list is really wonky. Like this
what?
But this be the kind of list that you also see. This is no shade to our people, but this also be the kind of list you see at the NAACP Image Awards, where
they just throwing stuff out.
Yeah, it's just a really interesting mix. And like part of me wants to say, oh, I'm so glad that, smaller independent things like Relationship Goals or Ruth or Boaz. I know Ruth and Boaz was like, I think a Netflix streamer, if I'm not mistaken. But like, I want to say, oh, it's great that they're in the same conversation as like a Sinners or even a One Battle After Another. But it's also like, really, y'all, what are we doing here?
We actually had better options.
We did have better options. No shade.
My Hedda wasn't even up there. Like, what's going on?
Well,
anyway, those are the movie awards
much
again.
Homosexual for them, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
them undertones and overtones.
But that's what keeps it interesting. Like, come on, let's not be. Anyway, those are the movie awards, none televised.
Yes.
BT, let's put these back on the television because movies matter and they actually bring a lot of eyes to the screen still. Anyway, standout performances. I know that, like, for me, the best performance of the night, like the best stage performance, was absolutely the Lauryn Hill tribute.
Your microphone. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. I'm gonna find you and take it slowly. Baby, come on now, baby, come on now, baby, come on.
It's funny how money changes situation. Miscommunication lead to complication.
Did you catch that one?
I did. It was I want to say it was a little long, but it was good. Like, you know, pretty, for the most part, everything was like, oh my God, this is so cute, so well thought out. Shout out to all the ladies, all of the black woman rappers, right?
Yeah, that also sing or can carry a note.
That too, because multi-talented. Okay. But it was really good. What was your favorite part of the tribute, real quick?
I mean, it's hard to say what my favorite part of it was. I love they opened with the movie song from Sister Act 2. Like that was like, you know, fully dialed in. And it just also felt tactile, and it just felt like something that was grounded in a way that was like, oh, this isn't finna just be some Hollywood production.
That was my favorite part. That's what I was gonna say was the best part to me, you know, because without that connection, that Sister Act 2 connection, we would not see, what's the girl named? Tanya Blount, you know, currently known as the War and Treaty with her husband. We would not see her, no shade, on, you know, even the BET Awards stage, particularly with that kind of a moment around her and him and their talent. I thought it was a lovely opening.
And she has pipes. Like, the way she sang that song, I was like, okay, yes, bringing talent back to the BET Awards stage.
Not bringing talent back. Wow, crazy. Y'all, do y'all hear Rated A? Rated on a on one today, as they say. Okay.
But I also love seeing her kids perform. Like, she had her daughter Selah come in and do a rendition. Her son YG Marley did Turn Your Lights Down Low, which was such a beautiful rendition. And then Zion Marley, which, you know, she has a song To Zion that's dedicated to him on her actual album, the one album she does have solo. And so those were like really beautiful, heartfelt moments for me. And then again, all of the different women coming out, specifically your girl Queen Latifah came out in this like fly ass, like, what was that, like a Visor Tiara situation?
She said, don't forget who I'm is who I be. Okay.
Yes. And also paying deference to her New Jersey sister, calling her, you know, the Queen of Jersey. And it was just like, such a full moment for me.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I was just going to say that I like I said, I didn't watch it live. I'm sure there's additional, you know, clips and stuff like that. I did see a moment with Keke Palmer in the audience, who, you know, is one of my Hollywood faves in everything. But yeah, anything else stood out to you before we move on?
The Lauryn Hill performance, not to, you know, beat a dead horse, but it was really long, but also so good that it needed an intermission. And Lauryn Hill came back after a commercial break and sang her own song, X Factor, which was beautiful to me. But I specifically want to call out her background singers because they had hella energy on that stage. They was back there body rolling and titty bouncing. I was like,
not titty bouncing, please. Please, not titty bouncing, please.
But yeah, that's the BET Awards. I think it's worth watching the clips for. Some other performances that I really enjoyed was Ray's performance. Cardi B, she came out and had some fine ass male dancers, which was like, yes, ma'am. Like, they were beefy. They weren't like, you know, the typical small male dancers, which I appreciated bringing them back. Because, you know, Beyonce was also good for having a good beefy male background dancer entourage. But yeah, I mean, really great performances. Tim, she was great in her all white. Her performance was real smooth with the background dancers, or background singers rather. And yeah, check those out. The award moments, Janet Jackson, we can't go away without talking about that moment with Tiana Taylor and Janet Jackson.
Watching you defy expectations, rewrite the rules, and lead with an unstoppable work ethic.
I wondered if I was supposed to feel uncomfortable saying that title out loud. But nah, I worked my ass off 20 years for this.
It was such a beautiful moment. Tiana was in full-on tears. I do want to say, Sister Jodie Turner-Smith, girl, put that phone down. She's in the background of Tiana Taylor's moment the entire time with this big bright orange phone recording as if we need her iPhone footage when we're on a national stage. Like, girl, be in the moment.
She want her own footage. Let her get her own documentation. We are all archivists in our own way, Ray Love Jr.
Yes, but also you are the moment. Like, you're in the moment. Be the moment. You ain't got to document the moment. We got a whole crew here to do that for you. And also, Young Miami, girl, I see you. That crowd was going up for you. Like, they were singing that song to the point where she had to just stop and let them have their moment. Like, yes.
Yeah.
But that's it for the BT Awards. Let us know what y'all thought. If you checked it out, tell us if we missed a moment that you think is worth bigging up. And we love to just continue the conversation going forward from there. So yeah.
Absolutely. Drop a comment in the chat, or drop a chat in the comment. Y'all know what I mean. I was also going to say you can always email us as well at holla@seatedshow.com, and we may read out your reflection on the show. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into our review of I'm Supergirl, and I'm here to change the world.
Yes, come on, Deep
Now
Cut.
I'm gonna know who's gonna serve me.
We'll see y'all at the jump. Hey, real quick, let's be so for real right now. It's just me and you. You've been waiting for this big sign to put yourself out there. Well, here it is. Your ideas are way too good and way too heavy to keep sitting on. Remember when Seated was just an endless mess of bullet points in my notes app? The only reason Tre'vell and I have a show that consistently sits in the top 100 on Apple Podcasts film reviews charts is because I stopped playing and I locked in with the Stony Brook University Podcast Incubator. It's an 8-month program that takes your show from a rough concept to a market-ready pilot. They keep the cohorts tiny, like 12 to 15 people, so you get real personalized coaching from industry heavyweights who've produced for WNYC and Spotify. You don't need fancy equipment or even tech skills. They teach you the narrative storytelling, the editing, and how to actually build an audience so you aren't just throwing content out there into the void. Plus, you can do the whole thing completely remotely. Yo, it costs $0 to apply. So stop sitting on your potential. Go apply for the Stony Brook University Podcast Incubator by August 15th at podcastfellows.org/apply. Let's get your show out of the notes app and onto the charts. Craig Gillespie takes the helm to deliver a gritty, unapologetic spin on Krypton's favorite daughter in Supergirl. Milly Alcock stars as Kara, a fearless whiskey-drinking anti-hero whose only real loyalty is to her superpowered dog, Crypto. When a ruthless mercenary named Krim murders the family of a young Ruthie and makes the fatal mistake of attacking Kara's dog, it's officially up and stuck. The duo teams up for a cosmic high-stakes revenge tour across the galaxy, crossing paths with chaotic heavy hitters like Jason Momoa as the biker bounty hunter Lobo.
Here's the thing. My cousin and I have very different ideas about what it means to be a hero. He sees the good in everyone. And I see the truth.
Clocking in at 1 hour and 47 minutes, Supergirl is rated PG-13 and is currently playing in theaters nationwide. All right, Tre'vell, you know how we do at Seated. Give us some fun facts about Craig Gillespie as we give the director some.
Yes, so Craig is a longtime filmmaker at this point, also has done a lot of music videos. So I'll start by highlighting the Beyonce music video, or commercial rather. He did the Verizon Super Bowl commercial with Beyonce in 2024 that she used to announce Cowboy Carter, which shout out to him. And then in films, he has done Lars and the Real Girl, I, Tonya, Cruella, which I really enjoyed, and Dumb Money. He's said to really kind of specialize in characters who refuse to be polished, right? And so when you think of that, it kind of makes sense that he would be, you know, the director behind this narrative in particular with Supergirl. This also is his this is not his first time with like major IP. He, like I said, he did Cruella with Disney back in 2021. And really, I think, you know, it's one of the roles of Emma Stone's that I actually like outside of The Help. And so shout out. I'm sorry. So shout out to him in terms of that regard, right? So he's a director that's supposed to be known for working with powerful women, elevating strong women characters, and I think we see that attempt at least on screen here with Supergirl.
Yeah, he knows how to direct the white women. He also did I, Tonya. Yes. I don't know if you checked out the Emmy-nominated series Pam and Tommy, but he directed that as well. But I loved Cruella. Like, Cruella was one of those, I guess, villain origin stories that I really loved from Disney when they were in that bag. Like, it's over there with, like, Maleficent for me. I was like, nah, if y'all want to do live action, let's go kind of on that side of the tracks more than what we've been getting. I'm not going to shade any specific titles, but I did love Cruella. But yeah, this is interesting background for me, just to understand who we're working with here. And so with that, tell me about your experience going to see the movie. You know, we're all about instigating a Black movie going experience. So what was it like for you?
So I went on opening weekend. I went on Sunday, the 11:45 a.m. showing. I went to a new theater this time.
Because I heard your favorite theater been having some changes. We ain't gonna say what that theater is in case you want to keep going there, but yeah.
Yes, they have. But also, yes, I won't go into details. But yes, they've been going through changes. So I went to a new theater this time. In IMAX is how I saw the film. And it wasn't like sold out, but it was pretty full. For it to be a Sunday, afternoon, late morning, early afternoon, it was pretty full. Now, I went to the IMAX showing because that's the best time that worked for my schedule, not because I actually wanted to see it in IMAX. That being said, I don't know that the IMAX was useful. But overall, and then I because I was at a new theater, I had to try out new food options across the street. And so
not across the street.
And so I had me a nice little fried shrimp roll and some chicken dumplings and some salt and pepper chicken.
You was grubbing, child.
Yeah, well, it was 11:45 a.m. That's lunchtime. Right. That's my first meal of the day. That. Anyway, so that's all to say that my viewing experience, it was different than normal, and I do notice the impact of the difference. Because another difference, the theater I went to this time doesn't have the recliners. Because it's IMAX. I guess they don't have them in IMAX in this theater. Yeah. And so I was, straight back the entire time watching Supergirl in IMAX. And so I didn't really care for that. But what was your experience like? Was it full? Was there a lot of people? Did you bring anybody with you this time?
Yeah, your point about IMAX is one of the reasons why I actually don't really prefer that format most times if it's not absolutely like necessary, like a Sinners or even The Brutalist, like when they're like really filmed in IMAX using that technology. But for me, this is insider baseball for y'all at home. We were intending on doing another episode this week, but did not realize that film was only in limited release, and so had to make like a last minute pivot and audible. So I ended up going to the very, very last showtime on Sunday night at 10:45 at my theater here. And so of course, like it's a Sunday, hell late, almost midnight. There were very few other people in there, maybe 10, 15 other folks. I saw it in Dolby. And I also brought in my own food. I got a sandwich earlier from Sprouts Market. They have a really great sandwich bar for like $5.99. You get like a good meaty and hearty sandwich. I got like a chicken and bacon sandwich, and that was my thrill for the evening. But because there weren't many people, I didn't have a lot of reactions around me, but also not a lot of disruptions either. But I did have the luxury of a reclining seat since it was Dolby, so that added to that. But yeah, what were your initial thoughts on the movie coming out? How did you feel about it? Did it land on you or what?
So this is our spoiler-free section, y'all. No, it didn't land on me. Just to be quite frank with you, I struggled to understand why we were here. I struggled to understand why this actress to be the lead of this. I struggled to understand why the little Asian girl was in it so much.
Asian?
That little girl is Asian.
Oh,
Ruthie.
That didn't clock for me. I'm sure it's gonna sound problematic, but you sometimes if you ain't black, you white to me. So
please.
But yeah, I didn't pick up that she was Asian. I completely missed that.
Oh, child, the whole family was, for the record.
Oh,
what you mean?
Damn.
Oh,
where was I? Sorry.
But yeah, so it was a film that overall, I feel like, as I've spoken before, when we're talking about films and franchises and things like that, I feel like you have to justify why we're here. And I don't think they did. I will go deeper later, but that was my overall takeaway. What about for you?
This is one of those like summer movies that is just kind of obligatory. Like you kind of expect to always have a superhero comic book movie in the summer. And this was that one for me since, what's the Marvel movie? It's not Endgame. It's, Lord, people in the comments are going off on me. I know they are right now. It's coming out in November, December.
The new one.
It's the big movie. Yes. Oh my goodness.
The new Avengers.
But because that's not a summer movie, this is like the big one as well as Doomsday. Yeah. This is the big one along with Spider-Man. And so I don't know how familiar you are with the DC Comics universe and like the movies and all of that business stuff they got going on, but Superman and Supergirl are like foundational pillars of Chapter 1 for the God and Monsters thing that they're trying to do with the reboot of the DC universe under James Gunn. So that's kind of the why of this. Essentially, they're trying to completely officially close the book on like the previous Snyderverse, which featured Henry Cavill and like Sasha Calle. And so this is kind of like a restart of sorts for the franchise. And
so all of these people got 5-year contracts, 10-year contracts or whatever to play the character. That is that kind
presumably.
Okay, yeah.
But this new universe officially launched on the big screen last summer with James Gunn's Superman, which came out last July.
Which I don't think we didn't do that one. I don't know if the show was...
No, it was before we started.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I remember a lot of people talking about it.
It was pretty well received. It introduced David Cornsweet as a younger, more like optimistic Clark Kent in a world where superheroes were kind of already established and active. And so we really dropped back into the universe from this new effort for kicking off the DCU. So that's why we're here. So, I went in with more of an open mind because I'm like, this is a new world. We're meeting a new version of this story that we've seen told so many different ways at this point. Like Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, those are kind of like the pillars, I guess you can say, characters for these superhero movies. So we've seen so many iterations of them at this point where it's just like, let's see what they're doing. It's Supergirl. We haven't really gotten a Supergirl version on the movie screen or theatrically in a while. So I was interested and open, and I expected some of what we got in this movie to be in there, like, her origin story and all of that and where she fits into Superman's story. And we got that in a way, but I did leave feeling, I felt like the story wasn't substantial enough for me for what they were really trying to do with the character. I actually thought that Homegirl's performance, Milly Alcock, I thought her performance was really good for what the character needed, but it was just like the story was, she wasn't even the main, the character motivation wasn't even centered around her for real. Wasn't until,
I'm gonna say, I don't know if that's spoiler, because because her dog, she's trying to save her dog.
Yeah.
She's trying to save.
I don't think that's spoiler. Yeah.
Okay. She's trying to save her dog.
Yeah.
And
but even that is like, it's, now that you say that, I'm like, oh yeah, how much of this can we spoil? I'm trying to think about what's in the trailer.
Right.
But
the dog piece in the trailer, I'll leave it there.
She just is, it's a revenge story that doesn't feel earned. And I think a lot of those problems for me came with just how these characters were brought into the story, from the villain to the little girl Ruth to even Jason Momoa's character. I was like, these people are just here, but we don't really know much about them. And we do learn more about the Supergirl character as the movie goes along. But something about it just wasn't clicking for me. And it wasn't because of the performance. Like, people are going to say, oh, a woman can't lead a movie or a superhero movie. But that's a lie. Like, I don't believe in feeding into that at all. I was somebody who actually enjoyed Wonder Woman. I enjoyed Mrs. Marvel.
Too.
So for me, it's less about the performance and the gender of these characters and more about the story. Like, what are you trying to say with the story? And the story is what didn't click as much for me, but we can get more into plot once we get to our spoiler field section of the conversation.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, in terms of staying in this kind of top line space, I feel like there's often a conversation about, like you mentioned, that Marvel versus DC competition, if you will. Now, I have seen most of the Marvel, I think.
Same.
I won't say most of them, because, there's a lot of individual movies for them individual characters, but most of the ones over the last 10 years at least, maybe 15, I definitely have seen. To me, Supergirl does not match up. What about for you in your mind?
I'm kind of over there with you. Some of my frustrations in this were a lot of the, how do I say this without spoiling? A lot of the inspiration from other movies was really present in a way that distracted me. Some movies that I'm going to call out that doesn't spoil the movie, I don't think at all. I kept seeing things that were clearly references or inspired by, like, Mad Max Fury Road, even Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a James Gunn movie over at Marvel. There was so much of those things happening or layered into this movie that I felt like, because we'd seen it's done and done better, did not give Supergirl a fair chance at creating its own identity within, like, the Superman world that was already kind of set with last year's movie. And that was kind of a big letdown for me from that front, was just not really being able to say, oh, this is a Supergirl movie. Like, when you watch Marvel movies and you see a Black Panther movie, there's something about it that says we're in the Black Panther version of Marvel right now.
Absolutely.
Even with Spider-Man, we're like, you're in the Spider-Man vibe and aesthetic. It's just like, I was hoping for that kind of like thumbprint for Supergirl, and we didn't really get that because of the presence of all of these other influences that were kind of clouding my mind in that front. So, yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't pick up on any of those influences explicitly so. Like, I think there's definitely some conversation happening between Supergirl and those. But that's interesting.
And Star Wars too, even the creature work. I was like, these creatures, I'm instantly thinking of Star Wars, or even some of those faces reminded me of even Pirates of the Caribbean. And so, like, every time I saw something, I would think of those things and be like, oh, that was so much better. Or just like more identity creating for those projects in a way that Supergirl just never really had for me.
All right, interesting. All right, you want to jump to the spoiler section?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
All right, y'all. We're going to take a quick little break. We're going to play a little clip for you, okay? This is your spoiler alert. And then when we come back, we're going to really unpack this thing.
Supergirl was raised on a chunk of a disintegrated planet. People were dying all around her. She's not Superman, and she's definitely not Clark Kent.
Supergirl's fueled by this pain, fueled by this hurt. I think people are expecting a sidekick film to Superman, like she's kind of in the periphery of his world. But what they're actually going to get is a really kick-ass Supergirl.
All right, so we are back in the spoiler-filled version of our review. Now we can get into some more of the plot and not feel so constrained here. And so, Tre'vell, I did surprisingly have a lot of notes on this movie that I was jotting down. I guess the first thing we can start with is the themes in this film that really stood out. One of my frustrations in this movie is that they introduced a lot of themes, but did not interrogate them for real. And so we learn in this movie that the villain Krim is apparently trafficking girls with like the intent to make them child brides for a society that is all male, which that don't even work. Like, life does not exist without women. And I was just like, there was something that could have really been dug up there with that conversation of where we are in society today, where we're seeing so many women's rights be threatened, queer rights be threatened, because these men in power care more so about creating a society that has that uplifts men, patriarchal society, like we all know the thing, and like doesn't invite women to also lead in that way and create like harmony across sexes or genders. And I was just like, they just did this thing where they show you this thing is happening, but like it's almost like, oh, this is just to create the bad and the good in this world, but not really to have any other commentary on it, which I'm like, all right, it's a comic book movie, it's a kids movie, well, supposedly a kids movie, that's PG-13. But still, there can be more said here. And then also, there was a black family in this movie to that point related to that plot line that I couldn't believe they were the ones put in the position they were. And then we literally get to see the white family get away with their girl and get their family saved and go away. And then like almost within like a minute or two after that, the black family that has brought forth kind of like the climactic moment we see happen literally gets slaughtered all in one sweep. And I was like, are we still treating the black families like this on screen? And that really bothered me. How did that land on you?
I did note that the black folks were, caught in this compromising position where they were turning in, right, these people to get their child back. So I did notice it, but it didn't raise an issue to me. But I think that's because of, by that point in the film, I was already off board. You know what I mean? Like I was already not riding the train. And so the noting those kind of like other problems or other issues or questions didn't jump out to me like that. But it is an interesting, because the casting does mean something. I always believe that something's always being said even when it ain't being said. And so I had not thought of that until you just brought it up. I think what stuck out to me most was I felt like the core motivations for the film were were unearned, like you mentioned earlier. By which I mean, you know, let me first say disclaimer. I don't know the love of a pet. I do not know. I do not personally know that love that I know many of y'all out there feel about your pets, to where you would cross the earth. You would cross, galaxies to save your dog or to save your cat or your iguana or whatever. I don't personally know that. And so maybe that is influencing this, but I did not buy that as a core motivation for the ensuing journey that Supergirl ends up taking. And while I understand the little girl, I also want to note with the little Asian girl, Ruthie, I also don't think her revenge narrative is earned. You mean to tell me you go from seeing your parents and your brother slaughtered and burned in front of you to automatically setting across galaxies to kill somebody? I needed a training montage. I needed something a la Kill Bill for me to be like, oh, this undying passion and confidence, the confidence in particular that you have, that you're gonna behead this man who did all of it when you froze, I should note respectfully. If you have that much stop playing with me. It just did not feel, I'm sorry, it just did not feel narratively earned in order to motivate the rest of, the actions that came beyond both of those elements.
Yeah. You brought up quite a few things here, specifically character specific that I want to get into, but I must say that little girl get on my nerve. But also that's something that annoys me in movies too, is like when there's a little kid in the movie that just feels like...
who's so annoying.
Obviously. Yes, and dead weight, and they just feel so entitled and so emboldened. That was also a thing that I hated about 28 years later. That little boy in that movie got on my nerves in the same way. But... the motivation in this movie is one of the things that I just felt bored with, because this is something that like Hollywood has seemingly loved to do since the success of like John Wick, because we know that was like a story about a hitman who literally goes out for vengeance because they killed his dog. And since then, we've gotten so many versions of this story in other movies, and I just didn't... It didn't work for me here, also because... the dog in this movie is also like annoying as hell too. I was happy to see him not be as present in this film because one, it's a CGI dog, and I'm somebody who is a pet owner. Like I love Ozzy, like that's my homie. But the dog in the movie, because he was also in the Superman movie, it's so much he's CGI. He's not a real dog, and also like he's not a bad dog, but he's one of those busy dogs that's just like always getting into stuff. And I was like, I didn't want a whole movie of that. And we're also dealing with like a character who just seemed disinterested in anything. But to the point of the Supergirl character herself. So we meet her essentially, she's going off to celebrate her birthday, and she's going to the planet with the Red Suns, because on that planet, that's where she can actually get drunk and feel the effects of, the substances, because she on a Yellow Sun planet is fully superpowered. And so we meet her in this state of just like, when you're in your early 20s, you can just not care about anything and want to just like go off on a bender. And she was in that state of not caring about herself or any other people, just her and her dog. And then we meet the Ruth character in the bar. And one of the things that frustrated me about the character, one, I am always annoyed when we have a story where they're trying to make us be sympathetic to the blonde-haired, blue-eyed character because they want us to feel like they're othered in their world, where it's just like in real life they're the ones that are catered to. So it's like that's already something I have to get over. It's just like y'all want me to feel bad for and relate to this little white girl who has all the privilege in the world, but then on top of that, what we're seeing exercised is her complete disinterest in actually wielding her power to save someone who actually needs it, which is another like mark for me. I was like, okay, not only do you have power and privilege in this world, but you're choosing not to use it. And also she tries to use excuses. She doesn't have her power on that planet, but also we see her having still superb fighting skills in that scene too, where it's like, oh, so you do still have the ability to help someone and you're just like not motivated until it's something that can affect you when your dog gets essentially hurt. Then you're like, okay, I'll help you because I have to help my dog. And it just so happens to be the same person we're going after. So it was just like, I was feeling that subplot of like white privilege in there with the white women and how we're in society now where it's like they have the choice of not standing up or speaking up for other people until it matters or is in their backyard and affects them. And I was just like, that's another ding on the character for me that I really had to kind of get over in kind of like just believing in this character or like going on this character's journey with her. Did that at all land for you, or is it just me being the drama again?
I don't think it's you being the drama per se. I think what I will say is I don't think that Gillespie or whoever, wrote this one had that in mind when they, were carving out kind of this character arc. There is a selfishness to the Supergirl character at the beginning, at least, and that element is kind of whittled over time,
which I'm okay with. Like, make them. I actually love anti-hero characters. Like, they're more interesting in texture to me than like a traditional hero. But I think just the optics of everything around this character made it more difficult for me to really be on the side of this character in a way that I think they wanted us to be.
Well, also, right, because even in these other worlds, though race does not necessarily always factor in terms of their head spaces about these worlds, difference and oppression and otherness always do, right? To your point about how we are made, we're supposed to feel like she is, othered in a lot of these spaces, when the reality is she's the strongest one in the room. And we see that over and over. I have a question for you. You seem to like the little girl at the center. Alcock, is that her name?
Yes.
Milly Alcock?
Milly Alcock. She was from, I don't know if you watched the series, but the Game of Thrones spinoff, House of the Dragon.
Absolutely
she was in that
not.
Series.
Because I wanted to ask you about her specifically before we jump, because I don't think she had the gravitas. I don't think, the kind of gravitas that we spoke about Emily Blunt having in Disclosure Day, the kind of gravitas we talked about, even, what's that lady name? What's her name? Amy Adams in one of these movies or TV shows, or even the young lady who does Captain Marvel, whatever her name is. I say all this to say I expected a lot more gravitas and ability for this young actress to hold our attention and our interest, and the tension, right, that is supposed to be this narrative. And I didn't believe it. Mostly is how I took. I left the movie. I just didn't believe it.
For me, I think she was most effective in those flashback scenes, where we were on Krypton and kind of like learning about how she came to escape the planet, because we only really were told, or we're most familiar with the Superman story. And we learned that like a chunk of the planet was lifted as that implosion was happening on the planet, and she lives on the planet for a number of years, enough to know her parents and see her parents die, and enough to see the society
But those
die.
are flashbacks, though. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's
but they
that's
informed
a quarter of the movie.
Yeah, but they informed the character that we saw for the majority of the movie. And for me, I realized that I really did like her in the film, because when she wasn't in scenes, I preferred having her in the scene. So like when we have these moments where we were with like the Jason Momoa character or the little girl, I was like, let's go back to where's Supergirl?
Fair point. Fair point.
And so that's why I was like, she works for me in that way. But a different point related to, again, more her character and the overall theme of the story. A heavy theme in Superman, just like the comic itself, and then this story more specifically, is that it's also an immigrant story. This is a story of someone who had to leave their home planet and find home somewhere else because where they were was hostile. It was a hostile environment that they wouldn't survive in. And so, like, considering today's climate, people, the U.S. is supposed to be a place of refuge for people in other countries who want to find and pursue better lives for themselves and their family. And she's literally sent off of her planet by her father, who is like, I don't want you to die here. I want you to go and find a place with your cousin. And her cousin, being Superman, had already kind of like set a life there. He knew he could send her somewhere to be safe and thrive and also be the god on Earth, and like instructs her to use her powers to save people who don't have powers to fight for themselves. And that was something that was just like presented, but also like, in a way, I hate that I'm invoking this movie, Lord. I feel like one battle after another even touched on an immigrant, the state of today's society with the immigrant story than like this movie did. But also, you can't compare a superhero movie to one like that. But that was a plot point in the movie that I felt could have been more interesting if they really leaned into it, because she has the power and privilege of assimilation in a way that folks who come to America who aren't, again, blonde hair, blue-eyed, don't have. And so these are all things dusting up in my mind as I'm watching this movie.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you watch movies with like a sociological lens on that many of us can't turn off, which is just like our reality. I also believe that these people ain't thinking of this as an immigrant story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And no
and a
shade.
story of privilege, too.
Or,
like the father and her family has access to technology and a place in society where they can create and build these things that is obviously not accessible to the rest of society, because we see when the planet gets lifted, they're cutting off like a person from society that can't come with them, and they're able to send their one child off. And like, that's another point of privilege in society that I was like, oh, this is another thing that's being ignored here. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, no, I think it is, but those themes are often ignored, right? When the superhero person is white. Right? Yeah. For whatever reason, those things only come into you. If Supergirl was Latina, okay, we probably definitely would be talking about the potential immigration, oriented learnings and lessons and connections as a result here. But because the little girl looked like the little girl, is superhero as normal business. Go ahead.
There are two more things I want to touch on. And one is the Jason Momoa character. So in the DC universe, we know Jason Momoa to play Aquaman. And so I think when his casting was announced, many people were like, oh, is Aquaman going to appear in Superman? But we see that this is a new DC universe. And so it feels like they're kind of like trying to just do away with what was previous and go with something new. But his character, to me, I literally wrote down, what's the point of Jason Momoa's character? Because you can literally cut out all of his scenes and the story would not be any different. And I just was like, this feels kind of another unfair point to the main character because like his character literally saves Supergirl at one point when we see she's about to get her hair cut off and he comes in like as the savior. I was like, I don't know what this is doing here or how this is effective for this character. I'm not familiar with the comics. I don't know if he's like a beloved character, Lobo or something, but I didn't need him in this story. He also just looked like a wrestler who was in like the Kiss band to me with the way that he was costumed. But did he feel substantial to you in any way in this movie? Or
no,
what?
Everybody was underwritten.
Yeah.
Every single character, that was my feeling about most of it. Because you're right, that character is, I don't even see the intention. Because, sometimes a character like that provides an interesting, like foil, right, in whatever's going on. Or they can be somebody who can sacrifice themselves in support of, things like that. But there wasn't really much meaningful use, I'll say, to that character or how it like intersects with things.
Yeah, and then the other thing that just like bummed me out about this movie was it was just so bland. Like the color was so, because we were on these different planets and in desert environments a lot of the time, there was no color. And I was just like, Superman had so much vibrancy on screen that this one, a lot of beige, a lot of grays. And I was just like, where is the summer vibrancy? Like it just lacked that to me, which also just made it a bleak viewing experience for that reason, in a way that I didn't really expect for Supergirl. Like, the girls usually bring color, but not here. They really went the opposite for all things with this character.
Well, I don't disagree with you there. Are you ready for our final verdict?
Yes, but before we do that...
That means no.
The perspective, we kind of touched on Craig Gillespie as the director, and I was like, this was a great opportunity to have a femme director here. If it was me, the black female director, I was like, I would have loved to see a Nia DaCosta version of Supergirl. Could you imagine? But could you imagine this story being better if it was a film director? I mean, it's Supergirl. Like, I want the women's perspective. We're talking about child brides and all of that nonsense come in with this story. I was just like, I feel like a woman's touch would have given us probably the story I was hoping for. Would it be the same for you?
I mean, I think I would have liked to have seen somebody else do it. That's for sure. Nia did give us the Marvels.
Yes.
Over on the Marvel side of things. Which I really enjoyed that.
I did too.
Overall. And so, yeah, it's always interesting because I was about to say actually that I hate, being that, if it's about, a woman should direct it. If it's about a black person should, I hate being that person. And also, at the exact same time, I think particularly when we are launching franchises, we are launching movies that are supposed to go on to be, potentially huge and defining. I do think having directors who have a different lens, a lens that may inform the character a bit more than other lenses is helpful and it's useful. But also, we don't need no more superhero movies directed by white men. Respectfully and not respectfully. We don't need
It's like, if not now, then when? Because they ain't letting them direct a Superman in like the men movies, so...
Well, right. Exactly. There's that too, right? Where it's like when yeah. It's quite enraging, and I would have liked to see what additional lens or insights, a woman or femme director and other contributors, right, to the project might have offered it. But here's where we are. Where we are.
Well, I have, I think, interrogated enough of my thoughts on this. Is there anything else you want to get into before we jump into our verdict?
I don't. Seed it, skip it, or stream it. Ray Love Jr., where are you on whatever this movie's called? Supergirl. You know I'd be forgetting.
I think, this
say
might
it.
be my
say
first.
Say it. Say it. Say it.
I can't,
say
but yeah, I
it,
think
say it.
this is probably a skip it for me, which I can't believe I'm saying. Like, I wouldn't even say streaming this would be worth it.
Pew, 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 pew. Pew, 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 pew.
First skip it of the summer. I can't believe it.
This is the first skip it, your first skip it, I think, of the show, no?
It can't be. It can't be.
I
We have to
think it
check the
might
records
be,
on that.
Fred, because you don't like telling people to skip a movie. Okay.
Yeah. But what about you? What say you?
Oh yes, it's a definite skip it.
Damn.
It's a definite
All right,
skip
well,
it. I'm okay, and you are okay. Not seeing this one. Save your dollars for next week or week after next.
Well, see something else that you may have missed. for God's
Okay,
sake.
go see Ride That Train. I'm just kidding. Or Stop That Train.
That ain't even the name of the movie. They tell you to see something they ain't even see, child.
Well, yes. Okay, let's get into our critics conversation. What the critics are saying about Supergirl over on the Rotten Tomatoes. It's at 54%. Okay,
That's rotten.
Okay, which that feels right to me. I'm not going to lie. The Letterboxd rating, so this is more likely to be general audience, is at 3.1 out of 5 stars.
Well, seems like the general audience is enjoying it more than those of us who come to this movie for more substance, I'll say.
As expected. I always feel like the audience rating, you can kind of see where people, because I don't think I've seen an audience rating, particularly on Letterboxd, that's like below 2.5 in a minute, So it's often in that middle.
Yeah. Well, I would love to know what a black critic has to say about this. Who we got today?
Okay, we have, I hope I don't mispronounce your name, beloved, either Chalice or Chalice Williams, okay, for Black Girl Nerds, who says Supergirl is proof that the DCU can sustain stories beyond its flagship hero, stories that are personal, cosmic, and emotionally complex all at once. Okay, so she must have enjoyed the movie based on that review, and I love that for her. She also has I'm assuming, writing for Black Girl Nerds, has a comic books, I feel like, Black Girl Nerds is very blurred communities, which are super into comic books and all of that. So maybe she knows something we don't know. You know what I mean?
And to that point, my friend Yolo Akili, who's over at Beam, I saw him share on his social media that he really enjoyed it as someone who watches, or they really enjoyed it as someone who is into the comic book world and series. So I'm guessing, like, having that background knowledge or deeper knowledge, they can find maybe possibly more to connect to that just is missing me because I'm not as informed.
For sure.
Comic. So yeah, sure.
Alrighty, y'all. Well, that will do it for this week. Let us know your thoughts about Supergirl in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, okay, if you haven't already. And email us your thoughts at hello. That's wrong. Email us your thoughts at holla, HOLLA, at seededshow.com.
Yes, you can be our next listener lounge. So yeah, we would love to hear from you. And while you're there, join the gang over at seededshow.com/join. And after the jump, we're going to be back with the Black Cinema Games.
Yes. Pew, 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 pew. My favorite.
Back again, and now it's time for my favorite segment this week and every week, the Black Cinema Games.
Ole do it.
Hey. All right, so this week's game I'm calling the Melanin Multiverse, Tre'vell.
I don't like it already.
Oh, well, it might be a little tough this week.
I already knew. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, as I was pulling ideas for this, I really wanted to do something specific to the movie, and I was like, let's see what DC has to offer for the black folks when it comes to characters. And as I was pulling these characters, I was like, while I've seen these movies and seen these characters play, I probably may not do as well on this type of game, but I have faith in you. I think you're going to pull it out.
So you got me playing a game that you knew you would not do good at. Okay, heard.
I know you're a Leo and you love your challenges, and we're getting to Leo season, so you ain't gonna back down from the challenge.
I sure ain't. Let's run it. Let's do it.
So, as I mentioned, I'm pulling 5 variants from the DC timeline who brought major black star power to the big screen. And today we're looking at the black superheroes and villains who held it down in the DC universe. You've got to guess the movie from the following clues: the name of the actor, a description of the character they played in the movie, and its release here. Does that sound like something you can handle?
No, but let's do it.
All right. So round 1 is going to be actor Eddie Gathegi. Are you familiar with his background? Oh, boy.
No.
All right. So he plays Mr. Terrific, a.k.a. Michael Holt, a brilliant polymath, world-class martial artist and Olympic-level athlete who sports his iconic Fair Play jacket and uses high-tech floating T-spheres to get the job done. This movie was released in 2024, I believe it was. Can you guess the movie?
No, I cannot. I was like, Mr. Terrific. I thought it was. I was gonna say The Incredibles, but wrong, completely wrong. It's not even in the in the DC universe.
Wrong universe.
No, I don't. I'm gonna say okay. Let's go with Birds of Prey. That came out earlier than 2024, but it is.
Yeah,
DC.
I was gonna say that's kind of specific.
That's the name
but
of the movie.
Sure.
It's not
I'm sorry.
that,
This
though.
came out It's not, and this actually came out in 2025. So the movie is actually Superman, Tre'vell. Yes.
I didn't see that one.
So Eddie Gathegi was initially hesitant about the iconic T mask because he worried it looked too close to blackface. It wasn't until he dove into the lore and understood the sci-fi nanotechnology and worked with James Gunn to like mold that pliably soft tech directly onto his face that he actually embraced the character design. But landing this role was like a massive redemption arc for Gathegi after his Marvel character Darwin was famously done dirty and killed off too early in X-Men First Class. Do you remember that character from that movie? He was like the black man that got killed like in the
first scene, second scene. It was as early in the movie. I do.
Yes, and we were so excited to see him.
Yes, I loosely.
Well, I knew that one would be a little tough, but I was like, it's in the Superman universe we're talking about with Supergirl, so that's why I wanted to kind of like kick off the conversation.
If it ain't Meteor Man, I don't know it like that, but you know.
You know, we almost got a Meteor Man in here, but I was like, we're going to keep it DC specific. All right, so no points on the board yet. Are you ready for round 2?
Let's do it.
So for round 2, I'm actually giving you 2 actors and 2 chances, 2 extra clues to really get this one right, because I was like, this is another one that may be a little tough.
Okay.
The actors in this movie are Aldous Hodge and Quintessa Swindle. Are you familiar with either of their catalogs?
I am a little familiar with Aldous Hodge, absolutely.
Okay. So in this movie, they play Hawkman, aka Carter Hall, of the Justice Society, who wields a powerful mace, and Cyclone, aka Maxine Hunkel, a bright, talkative legacy hero who can manipulate wind currents and sound waves with vibrant, colorful visual effects. To me, she was kind of like Storm in this movie. And this film was released in 2022. Can you guess the movie?
Justice League.
Close, but the funny thing about their collective of superheroes is that they were the Justice Society, which was kind of like the alt of Justice League in this movie. But this was actually the 2022 film Black Adam, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, as you would say.
Yes. Well, why you ain't said his name? He black.
I mean, sure, but
I still wouldn't have got it.
You wouldn't. But when Aldous Hodge first got the call from The Rock to play this role, he literally thought it was a prank and repeatedly told him to stop playing on my phone. And Aldous Hodge is a real life martial artist, and he spent months blending different fighting styles like Wushu and Muay Thai to create a custom combat style that honored Hawksman's thousands of years of past lives as a black warrior, which I think was an interesting kind of like tie-in there for that character. So.
Okay.
Well, Tre'vell.
I know this.
It's not looking too good.
It's not, but that's okay. I'm still in it. We're
going to keep hope alive. Yes,
okay.
Yes. All right. Round 3, the actor is Ray Fisher. Now, are you familiar with this one?
No.
Damn.
Actually,
okay.
maybe. So give me the next piece of information.
So he plays Cyborg, aka Victor Stone, a former college football player star who was tragically mangled in an accident and rebuilt by his scientist father using an alien mother box, which turned him into a living cybernetic weapon struggling to hold on to his humanity. And this movie was released in 2017. Can you guess the movie? This was a Snyder movie. It was in the Snyderverse. A big one for the Zack Snyder catalog.
Batman.
Oh, Tre'vell.
You in this deep breath.
It's actually Justice League.
Oh, see, you played me.
Yeah, Ray Fisher, he actually risked his career to fight the studio when the original theatrical cut literally stripped away Cyborg's mother and gutted his complex family dynamic. And his activism is what eventually led to the Snyder Cut being released, which completely restored Cyborg as like the emotional heart of the movie and gave audiences a powerful narrative around Black family healing. And like, I know you have to remember that like release of Snyder Cut era. Like that was a big conversation with like the film bros during its time.
I do recall. This is why I thought I maybe I did know this. I think I let you talk me out of it because it wasn't Justice League wasn't correct for the last one. But that's all right. I did that to myself, I guess. But that's what I remembered the name Ray Fisher from. I was like, I feel like I remember something about this, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, at this point, we still don't got no points on the board, but, we here for the game.
We doing it for the vibe. Let's go.
Yeah. I ain't gonna do it. Oh, yes. That's a good throwback. Anyway, our next actor is Will Smith. Now, I know you know Will Smith's catalog.
Maybe. Let's see.
Well, this actually, for me, was also a deep cut. I was like, I saw this movie, but probably wouldn't get this either. But I have faith that this is going to pull you through as a storied film critic that you are, who was definitely working in the industry at this time.
I got it. I already know it.
Go ahead. In this movie, he plays Deadshot, aka Floyd Lawton. A slick, elite mercenary marksman who literally never misses a shot. He is entirely motivated by a desire to do right by his young daughter, even when he's being forced by the government to lead a black ops strike team of incarcerated supervillains. The movie came out in 2016. Can you guess the movie?
I thought I knew this, but I think I'm wrong.
No!
Because you said, what was the name of the character?
The character's name is Deadshot, aka Floyd Lawton. So Deadshot is like his super villain name, and Floyd Lawton is like his human name or like his everyday name.
Okay, well then, yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say Hancock.
And no. Another clue is that Viola Davis is who hires him to go off with this crew of people on the mission they're on in this film.
What is them people called? It doesn't matter.
You said Birds of Prey earlier, which actually would be a
I would say I don't know the
related
to
this.
The main name of that movie, or who that group is. I don't know their name.
So this would have been the Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. That is what it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for this movie, Will Smith completely race bent the traditionally white character, injecting the assassin with like a hip hop swagger that kind of carried the whole movie. And he believed in the cultural impact of leading a major superhero ensemble so much that he actually turned down returning for Independence Day Resurgence just to secure this role. So
probably for the best.
It was a bit of a moment at the time.
Just for the record. Yeah. I do remember this movie because they had Viola in a horrible wig. Horrible wig. Okay. So that's 0 for 4. What's number 5?
Yeah. Number 5, I made sure I gave you something that you can actually get a point for. So I am really pulling through that you're going to get this. But I want to end on a high. I like ending on a high at the very least.
Okay, let's do it.
This movie is Halle Berry.
Okay.
I know you know Halle Berry.
I know Halle Berry. We thought I knew Will Smith, okay?
In this movie, she plays Patience Phillips, a timid graphic designer at a shady cosmetics company who gets murdered after uncovering a toxic corporate conspiracy, only to be resurrected by a mystical Egyptian mall cat granting her superhuman feline agility, a leather suit, and a sudden craving for tuna. The movie was released in 2004. Can you guess it? I know you can.
You did throw me a solid hit. I'm deeply appreciative. This is Catwoman.
Yes. Hallelujah, we got one on the board. Yes, so Halle Berry made history as only the second black woman to don the live-action cat ears, following Eartha Kitt's legendary 1960s TV run.
I can't. I'm gonna say I don't know how.
You can't roll your tongue?
No, I cannot. Sorry, it's haunted me so much in all my Spanish classes.
Oh my God. Well, when the film bombed, Halle took the criticism in stride by showing up in person to the Razzie Awards, holding her actual Best Actress Oscar in one hand and her Worst Actress Razzie in the other. Yes. Yeah. So you got 1 point on the board. I can't believe you can't roll your tongue. Like, that's something I just knew Tre'vell Rajon could do. Like, what?
I can roll other things. Okay, so don't worry.
TMI.
Okay.
Speaking of Eartha Kitt, have you seen the latest episode of Drag Race All Stars?
Yes.
It was really interesting, wasn't it?
Kennedy
How they
Davenport.
recreated, and they recreated RuPaul's talk show from VH1 and had Kennedy playing Eartha Kitt. But anyway, getting off traffic. But you got 1 out of 5 points this week. Ooh, this is a sad one, but you know we all have those days. So thanks for playing a Black Cinema Game.
It's okay. It's all right. I don't mind. In the great words of the one songwriter, every woman has a breaking point. Okay, let's move into our good vibes only segment. These are our recommendations for things that are keeping our vibes good. I will get us started.
Take it away.
Last week I gave a recommendation of the Eve Tiny Desk concert. They've been doing a great Black Music Month spread of Tiny Desk concerts. And I want to shout out another one that came out afterwards, and this is Fred Hammond's. Okay?
Oh, yes.
You feel it.
Make some noise out there if you believe it. Make some noise if you believe it. Let's go to this one. Bread of life sent down from glory. Many things you were on earth, a holy king, a carpenter. Hallelujah. You say, bread of heaven sent down from glory. Sent down from glory. Many things, yeah. Many things you were on earth, a holy king, a carpenter. But we call you by your name, your name, your
all of our
Yes.
churchy and church adjacent folks, okay? You remember the music from the late 90s, early 2000s, especially so, okay? Shout out to the praise and worship teams, you know, among us, the team members among us. But it's a really good, like 20, 25 minutes. He does some new stuff, of course. They always do new stuff, but there's a lot of the older stuff. So it's a great, you know, walk down memory lane.
Yeah, nice. I definitely tapped into that, and he was doing some songs that I hadn't heard in a while. He didn't even give us like his really big ones. And to your point last week, I do wish that they had more time for these Tiny Desks because these artists can really get into it. I also considered a Tiny Desk this week for mine, but pivoted. So just as an honorable mention, we can mention Bow Wow's Tiny Desk, which I did not see coming.
I haven't seen it yet, so I cannot speak.
Yeah, I was surprised, and he actually, you know, held it down. So nice. I'm definitely gonna run that one back too, because Tiny Desk, did you know this month they actually did a partnership with BET, which brings it back to our top of the show, for Black Music Month. So that's what all of these different Tiny Desks have been a product of, which I thought was really interesting and nice to have this month. So yeah,
absolutely. And so, what do you have for us for your Good Vibes Only?
So this week I'm going to be recommending another podcast. Like y'all may or may not know, like I am someone who is kind of like a podcast head. What would you call that? I don't know. I love podcasts. So in addition to doing ours, and not an addict. No, I'm not addicted to them, child. Let's use different language there.
Well,
but junkie, I go with junkie. I'm a podcast junkie. Let's say that.
Oh, so you don't want to go with addict, but you want to go with junkie.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Anyway, my recommendation is coming from the Baby This Is Keke Palmer podcast. And in the recent episode, her guest was the one and only Jenifer Lewis. The episode is titled Jenifer Lewis is Surviving and Telling It All. So many of us, you know, if you're tapped into Jenifer Lewis and, you know, her story over the recent years, we all know that she had her accident that happened over in Africa. And she's, of course, reflecting on that experience and just like her mental health journey. She was recently a recipient this year at the Truth Awards that you and I both attended. And she shared, you know, more in depth about that story there. And I joked on Threads after watching this interview. I was like, Keke Palmer is actually the Black Oprah, and it's like, if you know that joke, you know that joke. A lot of people didn't pass the vibe check in that thread, by the way. They didn't know what I was referencing. But I found this interview to be so grounded and like thoughtful and also just like really reflective in a way that like I really loved getting.
And what do you say to those of us, especially, you know, the marginalized that go out there and they're on the front lines and they're losing their lives. They're going to jail. They're being sent away, because I find that energy with myself, especially after having my son, where you get to this point and you're just like, I'm getting emotional about it because I get scared about people dying. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes,
I don't want to tell my queer friends to go out there and stand on the front line so they can lose their life. I don't want to tell my Latinx friends. I don't want to tell.
Well,
it's hard.
I want you to hear me, though. Hear this. It's not the front line. It's standing up wherever you are. You don't go and stand in front of somebody with ice and go, girl, you don't do all that. You don't act out. You don't be stupid. There's a way to stand up without standing in front of a gun. There is a way to stand up. You write your congressmen, you write your senators, you make the phone calls, you send the emails, do your part. Go to your local meetings. Run for office.
Wow.
Do your part. Stand up where you are.
Watching those two different generations in conversation, to me, it was almost like what Keke Palmer could be when she's Jenifer Lewis's age, just with like being such a unapologetic person who has such a big personality and has something to say and reflect on. There were so many just like small gems in there from that conversation that really landed on me that I really recommend folks tap into and get into. If you love Jenifer Lewis or you love Keke Palmer, there's going to be something there for you. So that's my recommendation. Keke Palmer's interview with Jenifer Lewis. Jenifer Lewis is Surviving and Telling It All is the name name of that episode. So yeah, that's it for me.
Alrighty, folks, that will do it for this week's episode. Thanks for joining us to dive into Supergirl. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, help spread the word about the wonderful conversations we're having here at Seated. We will see you all next time.
Holla.
Holla. Every time you do it, I have to do it. I just feel like it's required. It's like God is good all the time. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta just complete it. Holla.
I appreciate the affirmation. If you enjoyed this episode, share with a friend. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like and tap that subscribe button. And if you're listening, give us a 5-star rating and review us in your podcast app or wherever you're tapping in today. It'll really help folks find us as we grow. Seated is an independently funded production, and your support can help us go further. Consider becoming a card-carrying member of the Seated Movie Club at seatedshow.com/join, where we'll bring you more of this popcorn-worthy content, special events, and more. And how do we do all that we do? Well, you know it's not by ourselves. Our theme music was created by Buckroll and animation by Ashung Adi, with creative consulting by Jade Fox and publicity support by House of Heralds. This week's episode was edited by me, Ray Love Jr. Seated is a co-production of Slay Jean and 5011 Media. It's hosted and produced by Tre'vell Anderson and Ray Love Jr. and filmed on location at the Walk Good Yard. See you at the movies. Holla!
Come on, ride the train, come ride it.
Bitch, did you see that Jussie Smollett clip from Harlem Pride with him doing the bankhead bounce? You singing that reminds me. Yes. And baby threw that head back like he thought he was killing.
Please.
I was not ready for that clip to hit the timeline.
Please.